Well, good morning, everybody. It's Sunday morning, about 7 o'clock in the morning, here in Bohol in the Philippines. Yeah, and all that cloudiness yesterday, we got a few sprinkles. Never really did get much rain out of it. A few sprinkles here and there, and we thought the sky would open up for sure, but really never did. Of course, as you can see, we got overcast skies here again, almost completely. It'll be curious to see whether we got some rain in that, but yeah, what we got done this last week. Wow, we got all the base around the trees cleaned up and weeded, which like I said, it was a busy week of a lot of hard work and a lot of just preparation for the growing season here and the rainy season, and just to tidy up everything too. You have a tendency to, during the dry season, to kind of let it go, mainly because the ground is so hard like cement it's almost impossible to do. And as I take you down in the banana field here, as you can see, we planted 8 new banana trees here from our stock that we have, because as bananas grow, this is kind of how they grow. From the root spreads out, and then you get new shoots, because as a stalk like this produces bananas, once it produces bananas, it'll not produce again. So you basically cut it down. So in order to keep the root going, they set up new shoots. And what you do is you cut one of those out with roots attached to it, because each one of those forms its own roots too, along with the main root. And then you can actually replant that and start another bunch of banana trees. And exactly what we did here. Of course, this was basically destroyed during the drought, and we lost, I mean, this was a really good producing new field, and we basically lost almost the whole field here. So, and that's part of the busy work, and I think there's just times you got to go into the banana orchard and clear it out and kind of start over with some new trees. But here you can see again that of what we got going here, and just so nice to have everything clean here and clean up around the roots and that, because like I said, the weeds, there ain't nothing that grows like the weeds here. The jungle just wants to continuously come back. And it does in the long sense. It don't take much to get her back. And of course then we also planted our lemon trees here. I've got 2 over here that we planted. And still going through and raking up the rows every day here. And that, and our compost piles are kind of dwindling down as it gets filtered into the ground here. And of course here is to give you a closer look at the lemon trees that we planted, 5 of them here. So it was basically a week of doing a lot of busy work again, and also doing some replanting in preparation for the rainy season, which I'm not sure is here or not. Boy, the last couple of years have been so atypical in the sense that I don't know if there is a typical year here. There was for quite a while. For the first few years we were here, you could pretty well determine the rainfall, when it was coming and when it wasn't, the dry season and the wet season. The last couple of years, wow, everything's really changed. And of course that tree that got uprooted here in the wind here last week, we got a lot of it cut up, and that'll all go in for firewood. I think some of the best good news this last week, if I can take you down here, was the big rain we got. I think it was Wednesday, this last Wednesday, and of course flooded all the rice fields here. Like, holy man. But we did manage to plant before the rain, and people have asked on through the comments of why I use the raised beds, and it's simply, as you can see what happens here, if this was all flat, all the planting of the beans here would have been washed out. But look at the beans. Yep. Looks like we're going to have a really good bean crop here. Yep. But that's why I do the raised beds. See if I can kind of wander through here a bit, because when you get a deluge rain like that, boy oh boy, it can just absolutely decimate everything. And look at the corn coming up here. And I got a whole field of corn here, sweet corn. Wow, I just love seeing that little green. And of course down below here also, if I can head down the hill here of what's happening. And as much as we planted, and then we also planted a different variety here, and I haven't seen any of those come up yet. So a different variety of beans, we'll have to see kind of what happens here. But this next week I'm going to do a lot more planting down here and start getting everything ready. But and of course there's little Mickey following me down here. But so far, wow, the beans look real good, the corn looks real good. And these branches that last year Beth stuck in the ground, as you can see, you cut off a branch, stick it in the ground, and it grows. And the particular one she did here, what she does is strip the leaves off the stems and adds it to soup. And that's pretty popular here. So we'll kind of have to see, or I'm kind of curious if I'm going to get any beans growing in these last few rows here. So all very good news. As I kind of work my way up the hill here and down the rows, now you can really see the corn coming up here. But that's why I've done the raised rows since the beginning, and that and the roots will reach down in there. You want to force the roots to kind of reach down in there where the moisture's at. And of course this is our old banana, oh wow, our pineapple fields here, and no production out of them yet, and I expect probably next year we should get production out of them. Like I said, it takes 2 to 3 years in order to do that. So that was our big work this last week. And of course I showed you in the last video that we planted a bunch of pineapple up here when we were in Tagbilaran. We picked up a bunch of tops, and of course this is our next project here, our banana field here that got absolutely decimated by the drought. And if we just could have watered in some measure of that, but like I said, that was during the time when the pond was basically dry. The pool was down to less than a foot. But here's a new pineapple. And like I said, you just cut off the head of it, and make sure the pineapple's off and take the bottom leaves off where the roots will grow out from, and plant them, and there you go. And those are supposed to be Hawaiian pineapples, so the really good ones. And back up to our compost rows. Of course, the compost we're constantly using in our planting and constantly building up new rows. We're getting down to the last bit of rice hay here. And the next go around, well, the next bunch we chop up, that'll be the end of it. So it'll last us into August here, and then we're just going to have to wait for the 3 months and basically use cut grass and leaves in the pig pens. So I'm going to let you all go. This was kind of a short retake of our last week, and it looks like rain again today, but no rain in the forecast, and it looked like rain. It really looked like rain yesterday. And yes, we did get a little bit, but not a lot. And so kept ourselves busy. Beth already left to go into town with some firewood that we were cutting up yesterday and some mangoes. So going to try to sell them at the Sari Sari store there at our house in town. So this is kind of our Sunday here. So everybody enjoy, like and subscribe, and I sincerely hope that God blesses every single one of you as much as He's blessed Beth and myself.